thanks for checking out this video. We are continuing the series in the funnel series, and I am here with Austin Walker. Austin, thanks so much for hanging out. It's 7 a.m. my time locally, and so
I thought about that last night. Sorry about that.
No. It's perfect. I do it every once in a while, where like I'm meeting somebody somewhere else in the country, and they're a little bit ahead, and I have to do that, like slap my face, like make sure I'm awake, or at least I don't have that communication that I just woke up. So Austin, thanks so much for hanging out. So you're at, I love the URL that I actually like. It's this very unique URL, the fellowshiponline.com, with your church. So first off, let's do this. How old is your church? How long have you guys been doing church online? How big is your church? And then how much time do you get to focus? And so that's my so those are my questions. I did this last time with Jason, and I was thinking those are my questions just to try to rattle you. Can you remember all those questions?
Right. We'll see. Well, I'll do my best. Fellowship Bible Church, we're a church. Next year will be 40 years for us. And so, obviously, for the people watching this, we live in like the behind the scenes of church world. So all of the like, what are we doing? What's that look like? That started. And so it's been fun just to be part of those conversations. But we've been doing like online church streaming, that kind of thing, since probably 2010, 2011, right around there. And so I took over kind of the online campus side in June of 2016. So I'm still I'm a small child in this world. But as far as church size, we've got 3 physical campuses in the online campus. And if you don't count online campus attendance, so like people in the doors on any Sunday morning, our total head count will range anywhere between probably like 42 or 4,800 people. So not like biggest in the state or anything like that, but enough to be super blessed. Yeah, enough to be super, super blessed with some really cool opportunities. And so as far as like my roles and responsibilities, this is online campus pastor is something that like I said is new, but it's also like the expectation on me is 5 to 10 hours a week. So my full-time gig is I'm a junior high pastor at this campus. And then just in the nature of how we do multi-site stuff, I also run some of our like student ministry mission stuff. So that's kind of like a smaller piece of one of my hats that takes a good bit of time, especially going into the summer for us. So I think that's all the questions.
Yeah, no, you got it
for part one.
and the more I talk to people, I want to know if like pastors and multi-site leaders got together and said 5 to 10 hours is the number. Like I feel like there was some, it's a 24, like the Bluetooth people in a room.
Yeah, everybody's just like, that'll do. Okay,
we'll do it. Let's just give them that.
I think it's a weird thing because the like shepherding and pastoring and leading an online community it's like a black hole of investment. Like you'll never be done. And so the guy whose place I took is now my overseer. He just stepped into a different role. And so he just said, man, you'll never run out of things that you could do to keep taking those next steps. So like put some boundaries in place so you still get to see your family, still get to do your other stuff well. So that's where we landed.
That's really well said. And I know that's why it's similar to how I started, where it was like 5. They give me a couple hours and I would just walk into a room and like, not my boss, but one of my boss's boss would say, okay, Jay, now you got another 5 hours. And I was like, okay,
all right.
Let's do it. But that, I love the way you said that it's a black hole of investment. That's totally true. There's so many different things you can do. Okay. So with Church Online, how does your church leverage it? Is it primarily local? Is it global? Is it a little bit of both?
Yeah. So that's been one of the things that has been fun to get to lean into a little bit. So like our church overall, our mission statement is making disciples who live by God's grace and for his glory at home and across the world. And so there's a bunch of different parts of that. And then we would say A disciple is somebody who connects with God and others, transforms an attitude and action, and then multiplies disciples at home and across the world. And so that all funnels into how we do our online campus, online church stuff. So originally it was like, I think probably like most people start, we're like, we're going to reach every country and every continent. It's going to be huge. It's going to change everything. And like it has, we've got, just through mission partners and church plants and stuff, we've got some internet, solid, like reliable, regular international presence. But really, my focus over probably the past 6 months has been more, how do we leverage this for our community?
Yeah.
And it's been really cool just to see. I feel like that's a trend that I'm seeing more, either happening more and more, or just like now that we're kind of moving in that direction, hearing it, like I'm now aware of it. So hearing about it more and more. So really a good percentage of our online campus, like regular people, are homebound, either in our community or relatives of people. We've got some missionaries, some extended family and stuff, but we've got a lot of people just in our area that physically can't get to our campuses. And so we've kind of shifted from like, let's do Facebook ads and every kind of major thing to, okay, looking at our analytics, where are we already getting traction? Let's kind of pour some gas on that fire.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's globally aware but locally focused is probably the best way to think about it right now.
Is that so? The missionary connection with your online campus, was that something that just kind of happened, or is that something you guys?
Yeah, so it's it kind of just happened. There's some of our missionaries in Poland and Italy and Guatemala who have really strong ties. Like we're the main sending church for them, and we're their home church when they were here. And so more than anything, we've become, for a lot of them, like, man, this is like, we're out giving and pouring out and investing in the community. And when we need, just like, let's take a break and just almost like recenter as a family, we get to be that for them. And so from my perspective, I don't know that the powers that be would agree, but I would say, I mean, even if it was just that, it's worth it. Encouraging people that are out on the front lines and really invested in their communities to be able to pour into them. So yeah, it's been cool.
That's a great, and I hope for those watching this that you heard that, like connecting. I love that idea of, especially, the church I came to Jesus in is very much, mission. Like in my church, I think a lot of churches are this way. It was very much a sending church, and so in the back, we would have a board with all of our missionaries that we're supporting.
Yeah,
little old school.
Yeah,
and,
love it.
A good Southern Baptist independent church.
Come on with it, yeah.
But I love that idea that they can still engage, and like, I feel like sometimes with church online, when you're talking to some people, they may get so caught up on barriers that angles like that are not necessarily like, they're like, angles to like pitch them a vision, but sometimes you just got to tell that person what they need to hear to allow the other stuff to happen. But I love that connection. I know bandwidth and all sorts of things can become a barrier, especially for missionaries, depending on how they're going. But that's so cool. So with your church online, what platform do you use to host your church online? And then if you do live, what streaming provider do you use?
Yeah, so we use Church Online, the chat platform. We started with another one. Yeah. We started with another one. And then about a year ago, I think we moved to that. And my home church where I grew up is Life Church. And so anything that I can do to leverage that is a lot of fun. So we do that. And then our kind of like workflow or whatever for the like nerd out on the techie side of stuff, we push all of our stuff into Wirecast. And right now we're like, my next appointment after this ends is to go run tests with our tech guys because we're changing things. So like this past Sunday, it's real fun on a Thursday. So if by the time this posts, people go to our website and see like, oh, there's no more online campus there, the test did not go well. So I don't want to speak ill of our past CDN, but the way it worked last week is for any stream that we wanted to push out, we pushed up to our CDN and they just kind of like were the go-between.
Yeah.
And so we're testing churchstreaming.tv right now.
Yeah.
Our hope is to find, because they've got a stream box that comes with their stuff.
Yeah, they do.
And so our hope is to find, we don't have the computer that can push a Facebook Live, a mobile, a high def, and all of the different things that we need to. So we're looking for like a CD that lets us push one stream that like bursts it out everywhere.
That goes everywhere. That can break it. It can be so hard finding a person there, because I feel like there are so many great streaming providers now, and it's like I know, like I talk a lot about the guys at Stream Monkey because I just know them, and I trust them. I've met one person from church streaming. It's Church Streaming TV, right? They're great too, but it's like how to find the right one. But I love just testing them, going out. I do think what you're doing that is important, so you don't have to worry about all the that's a pain.
Dude, it's been crazy. And we've had, so our past CDN, this is what started a lot of the changes. There were several times, and by several I mean to where it became like a running joke that wasn't funny to my bosses, that the mobile stream just died. And like we all know, mobile, I mean, that's like 65% of our Sunday engagement is mobile. And so when that feed goes down, you've got all kinds of like grandmas in the chat saying, "Why did you break the internet?"
We have had, it's actually something we're struggling with right now. I actually, no, not right now. I have a meeting next week. We document every time it goes down. We have a running report, and I've had, in the last year and a half, I've had, I think, around 15 to 20 times it's gone down. And part of it is there's all sorts of videos, but it's just one of those things that I'm like, I can't believe it's 2017 that we can't figure this out. It's 2000, and I feel bad. Like, it's like that classic, like we went to the moon. Why can't we figure this out? And it's like, I forget what comic made that joke. Like, what if we never went to the moon? What would be the example? Like what would we say? Like we had won World War II. Like, what?
Why can't we do this? I would say, man, in shopping for CDNs, if I could find one that guaranteed live Sunday morning support and was clear on how they do their charges, that's it. Because I don't know how to figure out bandwidth hours. But I also need to know, hey, if it all falls apart and the wheels fall off on Sunday at like 11:10, I need to be able to get somebody on the phone.
That's a great way to filter out those people. Well, I'm definitely going to be curious as you switch over. Like, how does that go? So
me too.
I know. Well, good meeting here in a bit. So next question, crowd decor. What right now with how you're doing it? And maybe you can talk a little bit what you want to do, but like, what does a new person engaging look like down at the end of your funnel? Like, your ideal person, what is that process?
Yeah. So right now, kind of we like bring them in strategy out there. Well, I guess as you said, the kind of progression that we want to see is from out there to on the browser to in here. So it's kind of like the when I'm thinking through how are we funneling people through. Out there when they're on Facebook engaging with any of our stuff, or man, one of my favorite things lately to do has been throw some money at a Facebook ad targeted at new movers, because I know, at least, so I'm in the South, deep in the heart of Arkansas, and it's just a cultural thing, man. You move to a new city and you're going to look for a church, and we all know that online campus, church online, all that stuff is the front door, it's the welcome mat. They're going to try that first, and so whether that's a Facebook ad for new movers or a social media team, volunteer team, just getting them out there onto the page. And then when they get there, we've got some automations in the tools of church online platforms. So we do like, we've got it set to where a form stack embedded form pops up the first time that you show up. Cause I don't want it to be like every time you're refreshing, new form. Of
course.
So we have that, and that funnels into, and I don't know how detailed to get here. That funnels into a MailChimp automation based off of whether you say you go to another church, you're looking for a church, you are a normal part of our campus. And then we've got one that says other. In this form, like anybody that's used the platform, you can just click out of it and it goes away. So it doesn't like prevent them from watching.
Yeah.
But as a big part of only being part-time, I try and automate as much of the initial pastoral care and shepherding. I think you have to be able to do anything. And so that plugs into a MailChimp thing that spaces an email out usually 2 days after they'll get something from me, depending on what they said they were there for. And so we've got some other stuff. I made some notes as well. I'm looking over to the side to make sure that I didn't skip anything, but we use the slides and all kinds of stuff. The volunteers on our host team know to push people to certain stuff, but the main funnel we use, I've looked at ClickFunnels and I'm very intrigued by that, but I don't know that it's necessarily in our budget right now for what we need.
Yeah. It could be for those, it's about $99 a month. It's not necessarily the cheapest thing on the face of the earth, but yeah.
Right. And so right now where we're at with my MailChimp database and stuff, we're still just doing like $20 a month or something. So that plus $10 for FormStack. And it was like, I really want ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
I probably need to not do that.
Yeah.
And so, we want to bring them out there to on the browser. And then once they're on the browser, if they choose to engage, that follow-up, the hope would be to be able to connect them to some sort of like tangible, I think online community is community, but like in-person community.
Of course.
And so I'm always asking, hey, do you live near one of our physical campuses? Or we have a deal called Fellowship Associates, which is something we started to do church planning. And so there's about 60 church plants that we've got. And so if they live in like Kansas City, I'm going to try and say, hey, we love that you're a part of this. And if this is the online campus is where you're supposed to be, that's great. But if you're interested in some like in the room community, let me connect you with this church. Why don't you go check it out? And I'd love to hear what you think. To try and do that. The church plants aren't connected with us or anything, but that's still kind of where I try and push, just because they have our DNA. So,
and is that like that obviously at that moment that becomes a very like time invested process where you're like where you're at, and then what do you do when they're like, oh, I'm in this area and there's nothing, like how do you engage that now in your process?
Yeah. So the way that works now, it's just a matter of emailing back and forth, just asking questions. I told you before we started recording, I try and only check my email once a day. And so when I do that, especially if it's because my MailChimp automations will go out on Monday. So Tuesday, I try and set a little bit more time aside for email responses. Because I think you can automate some of it, but I also, if you automate everything, it just turns cold, and so that's a little bit more hand holding. And a lot of times that'll end up just being like, we're excited you're part of our community. And if there's anything I can do, my email and that I'll respond. Just let me know. We're happy you're here. At this point, just kind of the way our church, our elders have put community and discipleship. We're not to the point where we're looking at starting like online campus-based community groups or D groups around that.
Yeah.
That's been a healthy thing for me, a healthy tension for me of being like, I feel like maybe we should do this, but our church perspective or paradigm is this. And so like, is that a battle that I really want to go up against? When
of course
there's a different vision to a little bit, but I trust we're an elder-led church, and I trust that they lean in on stuff. And so we're not there at this point. That's not to say that we never would. It's just we're not right now.
Yeah, which is interesting because there's definitely an angle there because of the way you guys plant. Like there's something like the amount of plants. That's a really high number of plants that are associated. So that I'm like, oh wow, I'm kind of interested as that conversation. I know some stuff has to be rolled out and there has to be conversations. I've been in this role now for 6.5, 7 years. And so there's a lot of things that a lot of small conversations in the hallway that have developed out over those years.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, I could go into an executive pastor's office with my like battle plan and argue my point and explain in detail why I'm always right and accomplish nothing, So just trying to figure out and pray through like, okay, is that a vision God's given for online campus that isn't for right now, or am I off base? Or so.
Well, that is a good word for, I think, for all of us. I was I was on a in a meeting a couple days ago, and I actually have a new boss, and he's actually he's from a church in Texas, uh,
Cool.
and awesome guy. Where I'm having fun getting to know him, but he gave me some coaching in a moment about something I said in a meeting. But it was very much like, yeah, you're right. And I tried to play it off like, well, this is how it happens. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm just, I think that was me trying to insert myself.
Yeah.
And I need to just chill. Especially the younger you look, sometimes it can come off more arrogant. And so I always like to see what I do is I go into meetings when people think I'm young. I just try to mention I have 3 kids. That's what I do to immediately.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
have you done that yet? Like,
well,
when someone say, like, I gotta
my line. Yeah, here's my line, because when I first started in youth ministry, it was like 2008, 2010. I got in trouble in a junior high when I was visiting for lunch for having my phone, and I was like,
that's awesome.
And so now a lot of times, this is before Maisie came along, when I would have conversations with people and I could tell that they think that I'm a child and incapable of, I'd just do this and kind of have my wedding ring just like,
that's brilliant.
Just be like, yeah, no. Yeah, no, you're right.
Sure.
Kind of subtly being like, I can have adult conversations because I'm a grown up and this is proof.
Also, here's my guns. That is I love
like
that.
Grown up.
Yeah.
I can't do facial hair at all. It's just genetically no. And my wife's like, hey, you can sleep on the couch if you want a beard.
Totally.
So
totally. Yeah, no, that's
yeah, this derailed real fast.
No, that was great. Okay. Last question. What and I know in June they're coming up on a year in this role.
Yeah.
So, but what top online tool do you wish you had when you started?
Yeah, I think maybe I'm cheating on this answer, but we're going to go with it. And if you want to call me on it, be like, no, we need a better answer, then feel free. So it's a tough question because, like, on the one hand, I took over a pretty healthy deal and just kind of was told, we need you to get it to the next level, sustain it, and make a couple changes. So a lot of the tools were already in place, and I'm I don't want to take this for granted. I'm super blessed that we have a tech team at our church who knows a lot more than I will ever know in that world.
Yeah.
So I get to lean in on the like pastoral care and leadership side and not the like tech side. So I think probably the 2 things that have been most beneficial for me they are internet tools. The first one, do what?
No, I was just saying, just say it. Now, like, I feel like
yeah. No, the first one is and I think you even used this when we were setting this up, is Calendly.
Oh, yeah.
It's a website that syncs with Google, but we use Outlook. And so basically, whether it's my student ministry volunteers, online campus volunteers, parents that I'm meeting with, mission trip contacts that I'm planning, anything else, I can just send them a link and it syncs with my calendar, and I can say, oh, I only want to meet in these times. You go set up all the settings, but that way I'm not having to email back and forth 137 times to schedule something with somebody. And so I've been using that for about 3 months, and it probably saves me legitimately 4 hours a week of just admin stuff.
Wow.
Like I'm able to send one email to all of my volunteers at once and say, hey, in the next month, we need time together. Click this link, book a time. And if it's on my calendar, I'll be there. But if it's not on my calendar, I'll never show up.
Yeah.
So that, and then along the same lines, it's this is a beta test right now, and it is very clunky, but it's called Skedpal, SKEDPAL.
Okay.
And what that does, I can go in, and it doesn't integrate with Asana, which is what our church uses, but I can go in and say, these are the tasks and areas that I'm responsible for. And this task is going to take a half hour. This is going to be 2 hours. This one's deadline is this. I can give all the details on it, and it syncs with Outlook. And then I click one button, and it just fills my calendar in. So like, I know, hey, I need to spend some time dreaming about this mission trip to Guatemala. That's going to take 2 hours. I can do it in 30-minute chunks. Click. Okay. Over the next 2 weeks, I've got 4 different chunks of 30 minutes already on my calendar, so that I know, if it's on my calendar, I'll be there. So those 2, just from a time management with all the spinning plates and stuff, man, have been really, really helpful. I don't do structure well. So yeah, when I can have stuff that does it for me, we're good.
I was interested because I forget who else. I think Jason Morris from West Side Family uses Calendly.
Calendly. It's Calndly.
Yeah, it was the way it worked was really good. And I used You Booked Me for a while. And the problem was I couldn't get it. I used two calendars. And that's one of my problems because I can't get it. I couldn't get You Book Me to sync two calendars.
Yeah. I don't know if Calendly does. The one thing because there's several different services like that, but my wife's a graphic designer. And so I just didn't want to do something that was really ugly. And so Calendly had a really clean interface. It was really easy to use. And so the one downside, and this is why our whole staff doesn't use it. I'm the only one on our student ministry team that does, but it can feel a little cold where it's like, hey, I value you. Click this link to get time with me. But the reality is like, man, if some of my student ministry volunteers are like banking CFOs and stuff, they don't want to spend time. Like I shepherd our guy leaders. They don't want to spend time going back and forth. They want to click two buttons and they want it put on their calendar so that they know.
Of course. I have this constant issue, and it's more because I just hate Outlook. That
I just processed that.
I know. This is Jesus hated it. I know. Anyway, but it's that when people schedule meetings at my church, my Google Calendar isn't on that, and so people just make. They look inside they look inside Outlook, and I'm such like, this is just like almost has become a thing where I'm just like, no, screw you. I'm avoiding you. Yep. And so we have a couple people who they're what they love to do is they just schedule meetings and they look at the back end and they're like, oh, you're available. And I have to go like, no, and I really need to like just go back, but I'm like dragging my feet and I don't know why I'm doing it. It's absolutely terrible and there's no legitimate, and I'm like, maybe I should just duplicate. Anyways,
because I duplicate calendars. When we book something on our family calendar, because my wife and we use iCloud to share our calendars. If there's something that's going to impact family meetings like doctor's appointments or anything, I just have to duplicate it. And that's been the one cool thing about SchedPal is if I don't get a task done, or like in a lot of ways, I don't have control over my calendar because the lead student pastor or an executive pastor or teaching pastor can schedule something. At that point, it's like, it doesn't matter what you have planned, like you need to be at that meeting.
Exactly.
And SchedPal will you just click one button and it reshuffles everything and readjusts based off priorities and stuff. So
I'm going to be checking that out today, man.
It's great.
I love that. Well, dude, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out. I mean, really,
absolutely.
I hope for those listening, there's a couple things. There's some cool tools here at the end. So I think those are the coolest tools yet. Not to say to
do what I can.
Been on, but I love that. And you guys are doing some cool stuff with MailChimp automation and a couple other stuff. So keep it up. And I know I'm going to be probably pinging you about the way the live conversation goes. So let's Jesus, let it work well and be ready for the weekend. So thanks, Austin.
Amen. Appreciate it.